Morning, guys. It's Corrupted.
And it's Dragon.
Uh, Today my voice is gonna sound a little robot-y. It's not the mic. It's just my voice is messed up. So before anyone be like, "What happened to you? What's wrong with your voice?"
I definitely hear it now that we can start it. I didn't hear it for a second, but now I hear it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
we back.
not the mic. Yeah, we're
We
back,
back.
and we're. I don't know if I'll say this is my favorite arc, but this is the arc that made me like One Piece. So I like this arc.
It's a great art, definitely. Definitely one of my favorites. It's top three. It's definitely
Yeah.
top three.
Like I don't know if I like Wano or this one more. Like it's hard to say, cause like the it's like the thing that made me not so much care about like what's going on, but it's the actual. This is like where the actual story begins. You know what I mean?
Nah, I feel that. Like, nah, because I say like literally like this art to me is like so well done and so like the gut wrenchings, like everything. Like you talk about like the plot twist, the appearances, the like just what this arc does for Luffy from the point of Punk Hazard ends to where Dressrosa ends is so monumental. And it's like you can't take this is one of those arcs that you could not take it out of this story and it be like the same story at all. Like it's just such
But
that impactful of an arc, and it's
I also feel like it's the most important arc. Like, if that makes sense. Like it's not the biggest arc of the show, but it's like if you removed any singular arc and the show no longer made sense, I think Dressrosa is the one that makes it no longer make sense. Because the latter half of it is the actual story. Or not the actual story, that's a bad way to word it. But like, it sets up the entire end game of One Piece. And it's crazy that this started in like 2016. So it was like 8 years ago. Or at least, I think that's when the
like
anime came out.
I mean by this point ain't nobody thought how long this was gonna go. So
Yeah.
like that's it's just it's great to see where it is now, like in a lot of aspects of it. But this is definitely a gem. Like this arc is definitely a gem. And like one of like plot twists I think about, like especially when we get into when we start it and open it up, like the because we're going past Caesar retrieval, we're not gonna recover that. But um getting straight into when they arrive in Dressrosa and when they first arrive, and of course,
Well, we got
you know,
before they arrive, we got the Don Flamingo agreeing to Law's
yes,
terms.
yes,
Air quotes,
yes,
agreeing.
yeah, air quotes, like this is where the mastermind in Doflamingo comes in when he agrees to Law's terms, and like this pretty much fourth watch through now at this point, just seeing this now, I know it felt too easy to those guys, like it felt almost like going back on it now. It's like, how did you guys not know? Like it was felt too easy, and
Yeah.
Doflamingo's definitely a mastermind. Like definitely one of the top masterminds. Why I see they put him in a lot of those comparisons now with the other masterminds, which they always put him up against Aizen. I've never watched Bleach, but I know Aizen's pretty up there
So
when it comes to that brain power. But
the
like they
best way
always have
to
Doflamingo
describe that
there.
with the Aizen is like imagine Batman's planning as bad guy.
Yeah,
Is the best way to
that's what I
describe
heard.
Aizen.
That's what I heard.
Aizen's
I'm gonna
like
watch Bleach. Bleach is
plan
on my
out.
list to watch. So
Well, what's it called?
he's definitely the interest part for me is Eisen
Yeah.
right now.
But what's it called? We can with the anime break going. If we catch up, we can do Bleach next. If we're
Something
cause
we can talk about later.
yeah. But the other thing is the when they describe like they name in all the when the government's talking about, we're kind of screwed since Doflamingo stepped down.
Right.
Right before they show up, we get a piece of them, and they put them in order. They put in Dracula, Mihawk,
Yeah.
then the Heavenly Demon, Doflamingo. That title's so hard. The title goes so hard. And then there's Kuma, and then there's Boa, then there's what's his name? Who's the fifth one? Because the last one's Buggy. Because the Buggy intro is actually super well done in the anime. It's like he does like a fourth wall break, and it's like it's really like normally I don't like how the anime changes some of the stuff, but that was whoever directed that scene deserves a raise. Like with the Buggy stuff. But I'm trying to remember who the sixth one was.
Was it? It wasn't Crocodile, was it?
No, and it's not Weevil yet because they just like
No, we was last. We was completely last.
like they try not to mention him at all until he pops up later on. Until they truly Mihawk. Yeah, Mihawk's first. But the reason I bring it up, Law. How the fuck did I forget that is Law?
Because in the same breath when they mentioned Law in the anime, in the same breath when they mentioned Law, they talked about how he just didn't matter. Like since he's already under investigation for like fraud, and he pretty much shouldn't be kicked out.
And I like and when they introduced Law as the thing, they mentioned the Rocky Port incident, and the Rocky Port incident is kind of hard. Like
the Rocky Port incident, it's crazy that they mentioned it now. When you talk about like how, because in the anime and Egghead, that's what ended up being the continuation of that is what Blackbeard ended up going after Kobe for, but we'll get there. But it's crazy. I ain't know when they first mentioned it, and I was like, damn, this happened all the way back in here. And it's like you got so much stuff that we still have to go through, like because it makes sense. A lot of it makes sense because it was one of the points that when you come across it, it's like you hear it again, and it's like, was I really paying attention the time when I was watching this? And it's, bruh, like it blew me away. Needless to say,
it's like watching a thriller for the second time. Whenever you reread through it or rewatch through it, because like there's a bunch of stuff that you're just like, wait, he mentioned it here, but it happened like last week.
Like they continue it later.
It's nice world building. But the reason I mentioned like the order that they're in, like that he lists them off, it seems like it could be where they rank in power. Because we know for sure Mihawk is the strongest. It's a toss-up between Doflamingo and Kuma, who's stronger. And then it makes sense if Boa is stronger than Law. Because Law hasn't awakened his devil fruit yet. And we know Buggy's the weakest. But I could get part of it. Because
I think Kuma's stronger than me. Like, could be stronger than who you said is after Mihawk?
Doflamingo.
You said Doflamingo. Yeah, no, you're right. You said this would be a toss up. Yeah.
But the big reason
because the point is because it's like I mean we ain't got to get into which one's stronger, but it's like once you think about so far, like right now at what we've seen Kuma do, how he just gets rid of people with one hit, but knowing what's to come with Doflamingo, it's like nigga, you Doflamingo really has the power to take down the whole island if you want to, but like it's hard. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. It's hard.
Well, it's also not just that. It's Doflamingo ceiling is higher just because Doflamingo has Supreme King Haki and Kuma doesn't. Or if Kuma does, it hasn't awakened yet. Sort of thing.
We know he has Haki, but he doesn't have. We don't know if he has Conquerors. But
yeah. I keep calling it Supreme King just because it sounds so hard.
That's pretty much what it is.
It sounds so hard. But it's just the reason I feel like it's important to mention it now is because this is who they're after. They're after arguably the second strongest warlord. Like it just depends, like on the context. Like because we've seen Kuma show off his power, and the only thing that we've seen of Doflamingo is that he beat the living crap out of Smoker and almost killed him. Like that's all we've seen of Doflamingo's power for real. Besides like him beating some peons in the Marine Ford, but for the most part, he just body Smoker, and then refuses to fight Aokiji. And the implication there is that he would lose to Aokiji, but Aokiji's like way up there in the power of this, like in the One Piece world when it comes to power. But it's just, I feel like it's a good reminder that that's who Luffy's after now, is arguably the second strongest warlord. And like because he beat two warlords already.
You put it into perspective just how devastating and challenging this fight.
Yeah, like how much of a step up it is from where Luffy's been before.
Like, you know what, and that's a good thing to talk about too, because one thing that a lot of people, especially in the later, I got in the community a little later and see amongst later chapters how they talk, but like when they talk about how they don't understand how Oda can top everything after Gear 5, and when you mention like stakes and stuff, because now in the pre-Wano now, because I think that's the stake now, is pre-Wano. Like you talk about Caesar going from Caesar to Doflamingo now, and that in of itself is like a leap, like Caesar being just this shitty Logia who all he does is just play with gas and stuff. He ain't got no real like oomph to him. To Doflamingo, not only is he crafty, conniving, pretty much damn near, because Kaido's, I wouldn't say Kaido is, but pretty much the king of the underworld. Fucking literally like playing everybody like puppets, literally like his devil fruit, like and strong with it. You know what I'm saying? And like at a point, which later in the whole arc, like he ends up, awakening and stuff too. Like you put all that together and talk about what he just came away from, and talking about you finna go against this, and then, like I say, it's a good thing to bring up later when we get to Zoe and Whole Cake, and then to Wano, where you talk about how it matches up. But nah, like just it's a lot to take into account about all the stuff Doflamingo does, and really, bro, I'm now gonna watch this on this watch through. I'm gonna be watch through. Excuse me. I'm gonna be looking through what Doflamingo's true undoing was. Like at what points did he really get undone during this whole thing? Because like some people say it was his arrogance, some people say it was his his cockiness or his overconfidence in his crew and stuff like that, and him not wanting to get his hands dirty. It's a lot of things out there, but I'm gonna be looking. I gotta see, because right, we could go like that. Could really be a whole topic of conversation, is just how Doflamingo really did everything right, like to really get everything in place, but some went wrong. I mean, man, I'm gonna have to watch. We're gonna get there. We're gonna talk about that later.
That is a good question. What his downfall would be, like, because hubris feels like it's too easy of an answer to say. Exactly. Like his hubris, like how cocky he was his downfall, but it is part of it. Like it's undoubtedly part of it. Like there's no way you can say it's not part of it. Like it is something to do with it. But, like, the big question is, what, for, like, the sake of the metaphor, like, I guess his downfall would be, like, with the Ubermensch metaphor, is, his, like, it's part of his hubris, but if he didn't have a COD complex, he probably would have won.
You could say it. Yeah, I mean that's like I say, that could definitely be a part of it, of the whole puzzle. Cause I like it's it's hard because he really was he did have that God complex. He had it as a child, and it's understandable with his background, which we'll see later. But it's just like he was intelligent too, and he prepared. He didn't have poor preparation at all. Like, yeah, he probably overlooked a little bit, but that's what I want to say. I want to be able to point out what he overlooked, and it's too early. We're too early in our analysis to say that definitively right now.
What's it called? I think the biggest thing is he his like overconfidence and hubris made him trust the wrong people, and that was his downfall. I think that's the like when we get into it. Like I think
Yeah,
that's what happened. Like he thinks that his opinion is perfect, and so like if he trusts someone, that they'll never fail him because he thinks his ability to pick someone that can get it done is so good. It's not necessarily how good the other person is. It's just that he's just like in his head. He's just like, I'm so good that if I tell someone they're capable of it, because I'm so good at picking out what's gonna happen, that they're gonna get it done and I don't have to worry about it.
that makes
And
sense.
like with the people he actually trusts, because when we get into it, like that's the whole reason that he that Law has the Opu Opi no Mi. That's like all this stuff, like all the little cracks in his empire. Like that's what causes it. Is he thinks that he's too good for people not to do what he says to do.
That makes
But
sense.
that just ties into his hubris. But like the biggest big brain thing he does though is with he has Diamante um at the Coliseum.
Diamante. Yeah.
Yeah, he got his hands on the Marimara fruit, and he holds a tournament specifically just to get Luffy's attention. Like that's
You're
the
right,
like
man.
as soon as he
That's and that
like
was one of the things I was saying. Like one of the plot twists that was so immaculate in this arc. Like you talk about how artists, or even not even artists, just authors and storytellers across all the time, like how they keep a character in the story who they kind of done killed off already, and like to keep a symbol that was that important. Like, cause think about it, Luffy don't need another devil fruit. It's already the thing in process that if he get another devil fruit, he'll die. But that's his brother's devil fruit, though. Like, you think he could just sit there like back? I don't even think like I could sit back and watch as they uh sold my brother's devil fruit, deceased brother's devil fruit off, and not do nothing. Like, nah, I got to at least enter. You know what I'm saying? That was such a great plot twist, and this man set this whole tournament up, this whole coliseum up with all these people. It didn't even matter really. Like all them other people was just there. They extra. I want Straw Hat Luffy. That's who I want to get in this tournament. He'll be here. He'll be here. Oh, he coming. And come he damn sure did.
but the like that just goes to show how big of a mastermind he is. Like his whole thing was like, okay, I know Luffy's a fucking problem. Like Luffy's like undoubtedly a fucking problem. We gotta deal with this dude. But he just didn't care about Law that much because like his whole thing is we'll learn later he doesn't want to kill Law for a very specific reason, which ties into like how good he is at planning, like you've been saying. It ties into it because he makes Law think he's trying to kill him the entire time, but you see that he's not even trying. He's just playing with Law because he needs Law alive. Because at the very beginning, like right after he reveals he has the Marimara fruit, he's like, Law, you know I've been saving the heart seat for you. And we learn why. Next week, I think we're going to learn why it's specifically the heart seat. And the heart seat goes into, we know Law's the leader of the heart pirates. Like, there's clearly going to be a connection there. The fact that Doflamingo was also his symbol, Law's pirate symbol, is very close to Doflamingo's symbol. Like it's the same. Yeah. And there's obviously a reason for that. We've learned that Oda doesn't do stuff like that on accident. But it just gonna show off how, like, we see Law's really good at thinking ahead, and he's like 2 steps ahead of everybody. But Dofi's like 7 steps ahead of Law.
Yeah.
Like
that's pretty much a recipe for disaster in a game of chess.
Yeah, like Law's over here playing checkers while Dofi's in the castle playing chess. And
Almost feels like 3D chess.
But it's even crazier than that, because it's almost like he's like, you know how the joke goes, you were playing checkers, I was playing chess, but it's almost like deeper than that. It's like Doflamingo knows exactly why Law hates him, and so he's using that to make Law make the checker moves that he wants, while he's up there playing chess with another person, and that other person is Isho, because Isho doesn't trust him, because Isho's actually playing chess with him, and he's using the chess game to fuck with Law's checkers game. If that makes it, like, if that metaphor checks out.
Nah, that makes perfect sense.
Like, he's basically using his chess opponent to take out his checkers opponent.
It's like they're in a tournament, and Law's playing a new opponent every round, but Doflamingo still is basically playing his opponent that Law's going against. Doflamingo's playing his hand, and every time he goes to the next opponent, Doflamingo's playing his hand, and every time he goes to another opponent, Doflamingo playing his hand, until he thinks he's getting the Doflamingo, and you still ain't even got the Doflamingo, because that's where the freaking we'll get there. But the string, when he started throwing the string clones around,
well, also
I thought that was the freaking crazy plot twist too.
Also, like, it works super well. Like, we see this whole, like, the strings being pulled behind the scenes. Like, that's like the whole theme of Doflamingo. And it's funny,
exactly,
because that's his power. His power is that he can create and control strings. Like, So his entire thing is, like, he's the puppet master and everyone else is just a part of his show.
Yep.
And it's just nice to point out. And then we're going to learn how deep it goes, because, like, it doesn't seem that deep at first. You know what I mean? Like, his whole game, it looks like he's just trying to sow discord with everybody, but he's actually just setting everyone up for exactly what he wants, especially when we learn the entire reason Law's still alive. I think we'll learn it next week. Because he's had, like, infinite opportunities to kill Law. But he refuses to. There's actually 2 reasons why he won't kill Law. And it's, like, one of them's, like, kind of sad. In the sense, like, not sad like it's sad, but it's, like, sad like how, like, it's pitiful. How, like, Dofi is about it. Like, it's kind of, which just, like, kind of humanizes him. Like, kind of humanizes Doflamingo, but we'll get into that next week. It's really well set up. But they got to meet Doflamingo at 3 since he listened to Law. And one thing that's really nice is when they land in Dressrosa and Luffy's trying to talk Momonosuke into flying, and you see Momonosuke has PTSD from meeting Doflamingo. and you're just like, wait, he flew. Why won't he fly? But we know exactly why he won't fly, like much later on. And they set it up to think that it's just like how Oda sets it up is that you think it's just his PTSD from he got his power from Doflamingo and it messes with his head because he's only 8. So like meeting Doflamingo like a psychotic mass murder acting dude is gonna scare you out of using your powers if you got it from being stuck with his thing. But he's actually doing it for a completely different reason. Like he suppresses the fact that he can fly and everything. And he also says the like when him and Luffy get in the little scuffle and Luffy's just like, I'm gonna be king of the pirates one day, and Momonosuke's just like, in that case then one day I will rise to be the Shogun of Wano. And it's just like, wait a minute, what'd you just say, bro? Like it's like and then you see Kinemon gets mad at him. And he's just like, cease Momonosuke. You know what I mean? He's just like, they set it up as like, he's saying to stop because they owe Luffy their life. But that's not actually why they stop him. It's because Momonosuke's saying too much.
Yeah.
But it's just a good thing to point out here because it's a huge thing later. Like, it's a huge bit of foreshadowing that they do. And personally, I just think it's nice. We have then they set off to meet, what's it called? It's Law, Usopp, Robin, and Caesar. The Caesar. What is it? Caesar Trade Group? Is that what they call it? Or Caesar Delivery Team. That's what they called it.
Yeah.
And then there's the 4 weakest people have to guard the Sunny, which doesn't sound like it's gonna backfire at all. There's no way that backfires at all, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
There's no way. Chopper even points it out that it's gonna backfire, which is hilarious. Because Chopper's just like, hey, it's fine as long as Sanji's staying with us to make food and protect us. And then she's like, wait, where'd Sanji go? What the fuck? Because Sanji immediately runs away because Kinemon tells him that the women of Dressrosa dress skimpily. And another big thing in Wano that's going to be a reoccurring theme, I like to call it Super Simp Sanji, the 3 S's. So we're going to see Sanji simp harder than he's ever simped before.
Do you think that was possible?
Yeah, you would have thought it, especially after him almost dying from simping in Fishman Island.
Fishman. That's fucking crazy, though.
Yeah, you thought it could get worse, but also another thing about Dressrosa that's cool, it's a combination of Rome, like just like the architecture that's really cool. It's a combination of Rome, Spain, and what's really weird is like children's stories. Like, you know, like the cows, like some of the houses look like they're made out of candy or gingerbread houses and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because, like, when we get to Whole Cake, that's what everything's going to be made out of, right? Like, it's going to be a lot of stuff. But Doflamingo, we know he's allied with Kaido. Like, Kaido is the emperor that he works for. And we know, at this point, Big Mom likes the candy and stuff. But it's weird that the architecture looks similar at certain parts of Dressrosa. Like, certain things in Dressrosa look like they do at Whole Cake. And we know the reason for that. But it's like once we get to the end of Dressrosa, we know the reason for that. But at the moment, it's just like I would just remember thinking, watching the anime, that I didn't really pay attention to the manga. Like how interesting everything looks, like how visually striking the architecture is.
That's true.
Like,
That's definitely true. Like we see that a lot. Like when it comes down to like Dressrosa, because the colors, contrasting colors a lot, along with the like the elegance and with the dresses and all that. Like how they basically went for like a more fashion oriented route in Dressrosa, and like you see the same sort of thing in Whole Cake, but not the fashion so much, more of the contrasting colors and the popping architecture. Because when they make stuff made out of candy and pastries and you know bakery stuff, it's always going to be like something to look at, especially when you get to the actual Whole Cake castle and the color choices they choose to go with like especially when they get in the forest and all those different contrasting of colors and stuff, and then you get the Wano, and then it's like breathtaking sceneries and vibrant vibrant colors and stuff, and then he does continue the same trope in Egghead too. But Egghead, you know, the Egghead trope is completely different.
yeah, it's supposed
Like
to look like
completely
it's
different.
500 years in the future. And the
Yeah,
architecture like reflects that it gets to ignore the laws of physics and stuff like that, which is it's just interesting. Before, before Dressrosa, the architecture isn't really a thing. Like besides like Water 7 is like the only other time like it's a thing outside of like, look, this looks cool, like Alabasta. It just looks like a desert place. Um, a bunch of the other places, they don't look that distinct. Like you can just be like, oh, that could just be anywhere. But Dressrosa starts a habit that's here for the rest of the series. That the place that they are looks fucking wild.
yeah,
And it
definitely. Do that.
and like there's a reason behind it too, which is nice. And then we learn like along with the crazy architecture, like they're sentient toys. And not like normal toys, but like old school toys. Like they're like
Like
1960
nutcrackers
styles
and
toys.
fucking
Yeah,
wind up dolls and
and
spring
puppets.
yeah, puppets and little Pinocchios, and you know what I'm saying, they all like old school toys,
Yeah,
not
they're
like
like
new school
1950s and
anything.
1960s like tin toys.
Retro action figures, yeah, tin
Yeah.
toys, and like we talking about like dolls, like what, like the mesh, not mesh, but like the hay dolls, and
Yeah, like the
you know
Raggedy
shit.
Ann and Andy looking dolls.
There you go. Yeah, that's where I was going.
Like there's actually like a dog like rips one of their arms off and it's chasing it and it's like, oh no, my stuffing. Like stuff like that. Like and
And that's
everyone
what that
seems
was another
super
thing with the
happy with it.
setting. Yeah, like everyone's like super happy with these toys running around with like freaking real like emotions and shit. Like, and that was the thing what we was just talking about, like the sceneries and stuff that just get more and more like immaculate and just so otherworldly and just like whimsical and fucking like everything. Like, see motherfucker living with toys.
Yeah, and
Like
at first they make it like, look how great it is here. But the Straw Hats are just like, this fucking weird. Like something's not right. Like Sanji specifically, he's always just like, I don't like this. I don't like this. You know what I mean? Like Sanji's always like
right.
the entire time they're there. Unless it's a woman, he's just like, I don't this is sketch. Especially when they like stop to get lunch and Sanji's just like, I don't get why they're acting so normal and happy. Their king just stepped down. This makes sense. This makes no sense. I don't I don't get like that's like Sanji's entire thing. And Sanji's normally not the cynical one. So it's weird that he's the only cynical one here. Because it makes sense why Luffy's not cynical about it, because he's got that childlike sense of wonder. And Frankie just thinks it's cool because he thinks they're all robots. Because, like, there's going to be a moment in a few minutes where he's just like, whoever made you guys must be on par with Vegapunk with how smart he is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Zoro just doesn't care because he gets alcohol.
At all.
Zoro's just like, fuck it. Whatever. And then when they eat, the food is weird. Which is interesting. Like, or actually, weird's not the right way to say it. It's like, it's all Italian inspired. Which is funny because they're dressed like this is the best way for me to explain what they look like. They look like Amish mobsters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what Frankie, Kinemon, and Sanji remind me of.
It's the beard, though.
It's the fake beards. It's the fake beards. But they just look funny to me. And the hats.
No, it's also the black. Yeah, the hat and the black. Like, they had to choose. They chose, like, one of the most... And now that I think about it, because really, let's think about it. Let's really just look at this. What we were just talking about, how Dressrosa, vibrant colors, all this contrast of bright colors and stuff like that, and y'all wear black.
Yeah. And
everybody out here wearing all these vibrant colors, looking all colorful, Skittles taste rainbow everywhere, and y'all dressed in black.
Well, like,
with a white beard on.
Luffy's got it a little different because he's wearing a black shirt with sunflowers all over it. So he's got a little bit of color. But there's also the argument that everyone but Kinemon has that splash of color that doesn't look out of place. You know what like Frankie's got baby blue hair, Sanji's got blonde hair, Zoro's got green hair, but with the vibrant colors, with how they're dressed, it doesn't stand out like normal. Like you look in the background, like there's all these different colors in Dressrosa. So you're just like, oh, that seems kind of normal. Like, in the backgrounds, like, of all the shots in the anime, like, there's people with every different color hair, but everything else they wear is a different color. But these guys, they just have a splash of color, and then the rest is black. Which is interesting. But then the person with the loudest outfit is hilarious. That is Isho.
Yeah. I mean, he's just out of place. His outfit's just out of place. Like, if we were in Wano or somewhere like that, it wouldn't even matter. But
yeah. But it's just funny that the blind man has the brightest outfit. But before we get to the Isho thing, talking about the colors and stuff, we learned the legend of the fairies. They're like tiny, mischievous. Yeah, they're tiny, mischievous legends because nobody knows if they're real or not. Well, nobody knows. Nobody admits that they're real or not. Everyone just pretends that they're real, and it's just a legend of Dressrosa. But then we see a guy playing roulette, and I feel that it's pretty obvious that he's blind, the person playing roulette, because he's got a scar over both of his eyes, and his eyes are closed whenever they show him. But he wears bright purple, and this is one of the goats. This is one of the new admirals. His name's Isho.
Kizaru.
Yeah.
I mean, he replaced Aokiji.
Yeah, and then we'll learn there's another one that replaced Akainu.
Akainu.
I don't like him though. I don't like the plant guy.
Yeah, Green Bull.
Yeah, fuck that man. But he's gambling at roulette, and he keeps winning, but the guys are just like, nope, you keep losing, bro. And Isho's just like, damn, that sucks. He goes all in. I love that he goes all in. And he wins. And they're just like, nope, you lose. And Luffy just walks up and goes, what you mean he lost? He won. He won fair and square. I don't get what you're talking about, dog. Just because, like, Luffy doesn't like liars and he doesn't like cheats. So he just, like,
Yep.
immediately just points it out.
Characters that stay consistent.
Yeah, he does. It's almost like Luffy cares more about doing things the right way than doing things than succeeding at things. Like, sure, he wants to succeed. Like, if he plays a game, obviously he wants to win. Or, like, in a fight, he wants to win. But he's not going to cheat anyone, and he's going to try his best not to let the other person cheat either. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's why Foxy's art was so fucking cringe.
yeah. Because, like, Foxy was just so annoying. I hate that man with a passion. I don't even want to think about him. Like that crap's annoying. But I need to get back on topic because I'm just gonna think about how much I hate Foxy. And then the guys attack the blind man, which is pretty fucked up. But we see Isho don't play. He's got a cane with the sword in it. And he proceeds to just fuck them all up.
My favorite. That will forever be like my favorite type of sword style. It's the cane sword. Even Isho's is not even, he uses like a walking stick.
Yeah, it's like his feeling stick. I love the line that he makes right before the fight starts though. It's he trips one of them with the cane and says, "Oh no, it seems that someone has a wild pig running through the restaurant, and I tripped him on my cane. I apologize to his owner." Like, what the fuck, dog? Like, that's disrespectful as shit. Like I can't think of something more disrespectful before you're fighting people and you're a blind person. That's like Daredevil tripping a gangster, right? And being like, I think somebody's fat ass mama just fell down. Like, that's the same thing. That's what Isho just said to these people. Like that's just hilarious. And then we see like Isho just parries all of them. And then you see he just makes a big ass hole and instantly knocks them all out. And then I didn't write down his line in the anime because it didn't go as hard as what he says in the manga when he hits him, just because it sounded so fucking cool. It's not having sight is a blessing. The world of men is full of filthy things not worth laying eyes upon.
And it's funny you mentioned that quote. And then what happens later.
Yeah, like especially when at the end of the arc where she's like, why didn't you do anything? I didn't see
You just highlighted like a level of character development in Isho that I didn't know existed in this arc. And that's crazy.
Yeah, that line is so fucking hard. Like I fucking love that line. And it's like how he lives his life too. He's just like I might be blind, but at least I don't have to see shitty stuff. Or like later on where he's talking about Luffy, he's just like, man,
exactly
sometimes I wish I could see because something tells me he looks like a kind person. Like that line. Like,
no, he said he wonders what his face would look like, and he said it bet that it's the face of someone who is truly kind.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the exact thing, but I remembered the gist of it.
Because it's like, because the thing about it is like he actually full on believes that Luffy is a kind person, and if he was to see him, it would be the face and the look of a kind person.
Yeah,
like he would want to see, and it's like to a point. What makes it so special, which we're gonna cover it again, and it's worth covering again, well, even though we ain't there yet. But like he literally wishes that he could see, cause that's the face of a kind person, and he wish he could see it.
Yeah, and also he replaces Aokiji in a really good way, cause like Aokiji's joined the Marines because he believed in helping people. And
Right.
Isho's got like the same thing. Like he doesn't like following orders just because they were said to. He like we're gonna see later. Like he says fuck the orders and starts helping civilians. Like later on in the arc when shit gets real. When
Yeah.
there's like a big fight and there's also a line that I wrote down that we'll mention later, but it just shows that Isho is like how Garp, Aokiji, and Sengoku are. Like they have to do fucked up shit to keep the air quotes peace, but not even deep down, just like at a base. Kobe too would fall into the category. They're just legitimately good people that are put in shitty situations.
Yeah.
But you see, like
And it takes
other
a-
ones
it takes
aren't.
a-
Like Alkainu's not. Like Alkainu's a fucking piece of shit. Borsellino is like, we don't know a lot because we haven't seen him, but he's not. Like we've seen Isho for like half a scene, and we can already see that he's a good person. And then, like the random people, like everybody in the Navy except for the ones that I mentioned, like Isho, Akiji, and them, they're all pieces of shit. Except for it's just not that they replaced Aokiji with another good person.
Yeah.
Like
That is a good touch too when you think about it. Like 'cause they could have easily got us 3 Green Bulls
yeah,
easily.
like Green Bull's like a fucking monster. Like he kills people for fun. Like that's a bad but then you got Isho to level it out, and then Lucy. We're about to start calling him that, but Luffy's just like, you're really cool, dude. What's your name? And Isho's just like, I have a feeling that not saying that would be better for both of us because he immediately knew who Luffy was.
That's crazy when you think about it. Like, that's crazy. I wouldn't even say. And then think about it. Like, that's that moment is easy up for interpretation because it's like even then, I think he just had that intuition. I don't even think he knew who he was for real, for real, 100% at that time. He just knew he was somebody that he probably shouldn't know who he is, just for the simple fact of maybe who he just was stood up to, and he probably don't know. You know what I'm saying? Isho probably knew that them was Doflamingo's men, and probably just I would say he knew that he was getting fucked over, and he just didn't want to cause a scene because he's an admiral at the end of the day.
So what's it called?
And
I think he can use his powers to see. Like my theory is that he can sort of like Daredevil it. And what I mean, like something tells me that he can feel the gravity of everything around him. So I feel like I have a feeling he has like a sonar. He's able to use gravity to create a sonar around him. So I assume that he sees everything. Just because that makes too much sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, especially when we see him fight in a little bit, like how he's able to do stuff. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that he uses uses his power in a weird way to see everything around him. Like, I am 100% convinced. And then right after this stuff with Isho, we get the Zoro's Lost arc because a fairy steals Isho.
No, it's Shisui.
Or why did I say Isho? I meant Sushui, but I'm also kind of retarded, so I actually said the wrong word. And then I love that the Straw Hats immediately are just like, yo, what are we going to do? Sanji's just like, I'm going to chase after him. Luffy's just like, me too. And then it's just like, wait a second. Frankie's just like, why don't we just question the dude that the purple guy just beat the shit out of? Luffy's just like, okay, that sounds good. And then they intimidate him to figure out where Dofi is. And they learned about the tournament with the Marimar fruit. And then there's a line that the guy says that stuck with me. He's just a random unnamed Doflamingo pirate. He says, if wanting something was enough to get your hands on it, nobody would lose their lives in the struggle. And I think that perfectly encapsulates the disconnect between Doflamingo's ideology and Luffy's ideology, because Dofi's ideology is just like, if they don't want it, if like I could just want it and have it, then I wouldn't have it. Then I would have it, and then I wouldn't have to struggle. Because that's like his whole thing. Like we learned, like his family used to be celestial dragons, but Luffy, on the other hand, he's just like, that's the trick. You gotta act like you want it, and if you really wanted it, you'd act on it and you'd get it done. You know that, like, does that make sense?
Yeah, like if you
Like,
really wanted to get it, then you would do what you need in order. If you really wanted it, you would do what you need in order to get it.
or
Like,
like wanting it means that you're gonna get it. Like in Luffy's mind, like like what's it called? I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. Luffy believes that if you want something, you're gonna act out in the manner that you want it. But Doflamingo, since we're gonna see, is a nihilist, just like every person Luffy fights is a type of nihilist. Because like his entire thing is he's overcoming the nihilism of people around him, like the enemies around him.
yeah,
But Dofi's nihilism is like I don't have to struggle if I can be what I want to be. But Luffy's just like, if you don't struggle for it, then you didn't actually want it.
right. I can see that.
Like, but it's just a throwaway line that just randomly points out the core conflict of what's going on. And it's
But
not
what's
just,
crazy,
huh?
what's crazy is that Oda is notorious for doing that. Like little throwaway lines from like Oda's notorious for doing little throwaway lines from like side characters to show you, or just little throwaway lines in general to like really offset it to make you think that it's not important. When you go back and look, it's actually important as fuck.
Yeah, it's just like it's nice. And then he tells him about the tournament, and the winner of the tournament gets the Marimara fruit. And then we see like the heads defending the Diamond crew. What they're called, the Diamond Army, right? Yeah, the Diamond Army, led by Diamante, are the ones that are gonna be the final bosses of the Colosseum. And Luffy's just like, I'm winning Ace's fruit. I'll kill them all. Like that's like Luffy's whole thing. He's just like, well, I'll kill them all. And we get a little thing about devil fruits, like how they pass, like how they, like the thing that we got the little intro to when Smiley died, like how it's just like a random fruit becomes it.
Yeah.
And
So
I
they
like
gave an explanation to how once a user dies, it just becomes a random fruit somewhere.
yeah, which makes it weird with the thing. So I think it's just like if there's a certain fruit in a certain radius, it becomes one of those fruits. Otherwise, it becomes a random fruit. That's my theory on it. Because the odds of the apple right next to Smiley turning into the salamander fruit are really low. Another thing I like is we see exactly why Luffy wanted Frankie to join the crew here at this moment too, in this scene. Because he's just like, I'm going to go win it, Frankie. Do you want to eat it? Frankie's just like, no. And he's just like, then what are we going to do since I already have Gum Gum powers? But I don't want anybody else to have the fire abilities. And Frankie's just like, it's like a memento of him. Don't regret anything. Just go. It's probably a trap. But this is your chance to get a piece of your brother that you'll never get back. You have to take it. Like, I won't let you not take it. Sort of thing.
Yep.
Like, and he also just like you don't want to regret it. Like, even if it is a trap, you can't afford to regret not taking this piece of your brother with you. And Luffy's just like, damn, I'm glad I let him join the crew. You a real one, Frankie. And that is a recurring theme with Frankie. Frankie is the realest one of the crew. Like,
Yeah,
that's
he
like
gives
Frankie.
you- he
He's the
gives-
real one.
You think about the type of support Frankie gives. Frankie's the realism guy.
Like you think about he in that one little reply, he gave him the current situation, the past situation, and how you can take this situation and move forward with it. He gave him Stu that what you gonna do with it? You don't got to do nothing with it. That's telling him what to do right now. That's a memento from your brother, telling him the past that you'll probably never get back again. He say if you take it right now, he say it's literally yours to do. Yeah, this might be a trap, but you got this a chance you might not ever get to have a real memento of your brother. So literally giving him insight on the future that he can, because he's a kid captain. You know what I'm saying? And you think about how all of them really still give Luffy that respect too. All of them still giving Luffy that respect. They not telling him what to do. They just giving him some insight on what a different perspective about it. You know, telling him a little bit extra about it. And that's really when you talk about the relationship from captain, subordinate, even the vice versa, just as two friends, like not telling you what to do, but hey, this is just an idea for you. And that's crazy because like we go back to talking about roles and stuff again. We saw in Punk Hazard how Zoro gave the whole crew, not just Luffy, but pretty much the whole crew, kick up their ass saying we got to get it together. We in a new world. And then we come now and how Luffy can confide in his crewmates like that and them still give him that respect. You know what I'm saying? Not telling him what to do, but giving him an idea on it. That's a dynamic that, you know, we don't talk about a lot. And it don't come, we don't talk about it a lot. It doesn't come up as obvious a lot. Like we can just point it out. You got to really just look at it and see, you know, because really they friends at the end of the day, but we see how they interact and stuff, and you see they still keep that same respect towards each other no matter if they still friends.
Yeah. And then after that, Sanji goes into Super Simp mode because he meets Violet.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I would have went in Super Simp mode seeing Violet too.
I know she's up there on the highest characters that Oda designed. She's up there. She's definitely in the top 3 in my opinion. Like
I can agree with that.
I don't know who the other two. I don't know who the other two are in the top 2. I haven't decided yet. Cause like sometimes I'm just like it's Nico, and then sometimes I'm just like nah, it's not Nico. And then like Sanji meets that. They go to the Coliseum. They meet the super important toy soldier man that's with one leg. There's no way he's not important, like how they show him off. And he can use jet walk, which is interesting. But he uses it on a roller skate, like he has a singular roller skate. And then I love that Luffy's just like, what's your name? They ask him when he signs up, what's your name? He's just like, my name is Lou. And then Frankie's just like, you fucking idiot. Smacks the shit out of him. He's like, see. And so his name is Lucy for the what's it called?
The tournament.
For the tournament, yeah. And also, what's it called? When's Luffy's birthday again? It's May 6th, right?
6. Yeah. 5,
it's funny because his number is 0556.
Yeah.
So, 56.
Yeah. That's definitely intentional.
Yeah, and then we see we meet some of the people in here, and some of the people gearing up. There's this dude named Spartan. He's won 51 monthly tournaments, and Luffy just one-shots him with the judo throw. Just one-shots him. And a lot of the stuff that we're doing here is the story's just setting the stage for all the stuff, all the big stuff that's going to happen. We meet Don Shin Zhao and his grandsons. Just because there's not a lot of metaphor stuff that happens yet. It's just setting it up for it to get real. We meet a bunch of...
Oda does. Oda definitely does that. A setup chat section of every arc. And I think we kind of get right where we end today is where it really kicks off a lot of the stuff. So I think we end around... Well, we'll get there. I think we end right around... And
then we meet We see the statue of Kyros, who's supposed to be the greatest gladiator of all time. We meet Cavendish, really annoying man, who's obsessed with being beautiful and being the most popular. And then we meet Rebecca. Rebecca's a real one. She's a gladiator that refuses to hurt anybody. But she's also, like, they don't really call it out here, but also she's undefeated. And she's never hit anybody before. She just plays defense, which is impressive.
Yeah, because this right here was just a little opening meeting of her. They haven't really
Yeah, she hasn't fought yet.
They haven't really they haven't really went into it.
And then we see that the first battle royale inside the arena went down, and it was won by Jesus Burgers or Burgess.
Burgess.
Burgess. Yeah, I say it wrong because I have dyslexia, and in my head it always looks like burgers whenever I try to read it. But, like, we knew he was strong, but he, like, instantly beats everyone. And he's here because, like, Blackbeard wants all the fruits, and the flat fire fruit is stronger than most Logias. So, like, it's, like, they even call it the one of the ultimate Logias, like, in the story. You know what I mean? Like, when they're talking about it in the Colosseum, one of the people is just like, and it's one of the ultimate Logias. And I assume it's just like the core elements would be like you know, like the ancient elements that like Japan and Chinese mythology use. Water, wind, fire, lightning, metal, and wood. I just assume that's why they call it that, because Green Bull would be the wood one, and then Ace would be the fire one. And then we see when Frankie and the toy soldier are sitting in the stands. Frankie's talking about a conspiracy to beat the Doflamingos. And we see that the Tin Soldier has something against Doflamingo too. And he's just like, let's go somewhere quiet.
That's when we learn about...
we're going to learn the truth.
Toy soldier. The toy soldier.
And then we get Maynard is inside man.
Oh, Vice Admiral Maynard.
Yeah. And I like how we see he just beats the shit out of this man that caught him being an inside man.
Pretty much. Like, we don't talk about Fight Club, motherfucker.
Yeah. And then, like, shortly after that, we see Isho talking about stuff. And, this is the thing that made me like Isho a lot. He's like, okay, I've heard a bunch of people because they can't arrest anyone in the Coliseum because they technically work for Doflamingo inside the Coliseum.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah. And so everyone has amnesty. And then when Isho's talking to his aide, he's just like, call extra medics. We don't want regular people getting hurt. I want a head count of the people in the stands and the population. And his dude is just like, I don't get what you're talking about. And his quote is, the number we need to keep in mind ain't the enemy forces. It's the number of lives we ought to protect. No. And the person that works for him is just like, holy shit, my boss is awesome. Like, the face that he makes, he's just like, I like this man. Because, like, no other admiral's going to say that. Like, nobody else is going to care. And then we get the Iron Bridge stuff. We find out CP0's in town.
This is where we get to the stuff where we talk about just how packed this arc actually was.
Yeah, like how much stuff there is. And then we learn about the fighting fish being, like, insanely OP. Like, and apparently, like, their meat works like the Kama recipes. Like, it makes you feel stronger. And then it cuts to Zoro getting his sword back. And then the guards immediately recognize Kinemon. We get a couple of things of Sanji being like, man, I'm in love with Violet. Life is awesome. Nami and them get attacked on the ship. by the paint people.
After you pretty much told them that something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah, after
This is where
Chopper.
shit started going wrong.
Yeah. And then we meet this, we see this dude with green hair walk by. And we see Maynard got the absolute shit beat out of him. And it implies the green hair does it. The green hair dude's name is Bartolomeo, or however. I keep fucking. Yeah, I keep messing it up.
Bartolomeo.
And I love that he just like tries to piss everybody off. Like that's his whole thing. He's just trying to make enemies. But he's also super OP. And he just almost immediately, like as soon as he starts trying, like you see that he's broken. We see Bellamy again, back from Skypiea.
Yep, first time. Yep.
Yeah, and he implies that he might have hurt the people of Skypiea. Because Luffy's just like, you better not have hurt anybody. And he's like, maybe. But, you know, deep down, he's not. He didn't hurt anybody there. But Bartholomew, like, immediately beats everyone in B block as soon as he starts trying. It's crazy. Like, he just... I love that he goes to one part of it and just starts peeing in the middle of the fight. And then Hack, who's a master of fisherman karate, tries to punch him. And Bartholomew destroys his arm. It's just... If it feels like I'm going through all this stuff fast, it's just because all this is not... Like, it's important story beats, but it doesn't do anything for the metaphor, just because it's all nothing to do with Luffy/Lucy yet. It's because most of the stuff that happens is just... I won't be able to do it justice, because it's where the fight choreography finally starts getting good in the anime. So, a lot of this is just going to show people just get the shit beat out of them. And just introducing people for the final fight. And it's not really a bunch of character moments for Lucy. Or Luffy. I keep calling him Lucy because his name is Lucy in the story right now.
It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
So
I'm not doing it on purpose. And then we see, like, we meet Chin Chow for real.
Chin Chow.
I'm calling him Chin Chow because it sounds funny. But we learn that he hates Garp. Everyone finds out Luffy is Luffy now, or at least everyone that matters. And then a cool thing is Cavendish's sword, Durendal. Durendal was Roland's sword from the epic poem about the Tale of Roland. It's an epic poem about, like, the descendants of King Arthur's knights. And Durendal is supposed to be like its name really just means like hard and sharp. And it was supposedly the strongest sword that ever existed. Like the sharpest sword. Like it was supposed to be able to cut anything. And it just shows how strong Shin Shao's head is. Because it just doesn't do anything.
Real dragon nail.
Yeah. They have to stop the little skirmish. Because they get kicked out if they don't. Barty wins his round because he tricks everyone into attacking him. And it turns out he has the barrier fruit. And the barrier fruit is OP as shit.
Literally cross his fingers to make a barrier that can pretty much block a lot of attacks. But one thing that was interesting, a lot of people speculated that it didn't work against Haki because of the simple fact of Shanks' encounter with him. But I ain't going to say too much about that.
But also, it could just be Bartholomew doesn't have Conqueror's Haki, so it could have just been Conqueror's Haki who made it where it wasn't strong enough. But you never know.
I'll buy that.
But, like, Bartholomew, like, Bellamy's a heavy hitter, and Bartholomew beats him as handedly as Luffy did originally. You know what I mean? Like, you know how he just one-shots him the first time they meet?
Yeah.
Like,
much.
Bartholomew beats him that easily. And then we get the king punch from Elizabetho, or however you say his name. Elizabetho.
Yeah.
Because he's like got like some insane genetics and he can do a super punch. And the punch is like strong enough it destroyed like an entire castle. Like made an entire part of a castle crumble. But like Bartholomew's just like, that didn't do shit. And then he just throws the barrier at the guy and instantly knocks him out. Hits him in the forehead with the barrier and it instantly knocks him. Like hits him.
Funny.
He is, especially when we learn like his whole thing. And then we learn
hilarious.
The Tin Soldier has been plotting to destroy the Smile Factory for years. And the Tin Soldier is a member of a group that's trying to destroy Doflamingo's reign.
The Resistance Force.
Yeah. And I love Barto's just like, oh shit, they just mentioned Luffy. Like, he finds out that it's Luffy, and he looks like he's scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
There's the whole bridge thing. Like, it cuts immediately to Law and crew with the bridge, trying to get away from the fighting fish. And the fighting fish are super OP. Like, they're some of the strongest, which like, matters because we're going to see a fish man that is part fighting fish, and he's OP. So it's a good bit of foreshadowing to how strong they are. But not much happens on the bridge except for something that they can't see captures a fighting fish. And the fighting fish, as we learned, are hard to capture. So you're just like, what was that? Ooh, spooky.
Done that.
Yeah. And then you see Green Bit looks crazy. And there's a Navy ship stuck in some of the vines. But all the damage on the vines looks brand new. That's weird. Whatever could have caused that? And then Law wonders if Smoker gave him away, but he's just like, there's no way Smoker would ever turn me in. Smoker's actually a pretty good dude. We see some Navy officers get stripped by invisible things.
Pretty much.
And then
that's how they animated pretty much the Antidote doing anything early.
Yeah. And then Robin catches one, and then they black out. And they're surrounded by little people. And we meet Leo. Leo, a real one. I love that he's just like, Region B's clear, and he was looking through Robin's shirt.
Ha. Region Breast.
Yeah. And then we meet the Tontadas. They're little people, but they're not like normal people. They're like ridiculously strong because they're supposed to be a combination of dwarfs and fairies. Because like in some things they're called dwarfs and some things they're called fairies. And then we learned that they live under Greenbit and they're super gullible. Like they'll trust anything you say as long as you tell them it with conviction.
Literally.
Yeah. Like Usopp, because he's wearing a hat shaped like a chestnut, he's able to convince them that he's descendant of Noland back from the Skypiea arc. And that his hockey is the strongest hockey to ever exist.
Bruh. You ain't lying, bro. That's literally how it goes. Because, what was it? Then, like, wasn't towards the end, too, like he said he was going to do it for us, so he's going to do it. So he must was going to do it.
Yeah, and then it's like their belief in him that later on lets him do his first ever actual hockey feat.
Of course.
the Tontada, he's just like, fuck, they believe in me so much, I can't not do it. And then we get to Frankie heads off with the toy soldier. And then the toy soldier says like this hard ass line. Even a toy must protect that which is dear to it, even if these 10 eyes can no longer shed tears of their own. Like, bro.
Like, chill out.
Like, chill, bro. You didn't need to make him look that cool. He's a fucking toy.
A tin soldier with one fucking leg, my guy.
And then they meet Doflamingo, and Isho's waiting there. And we get the whole loss. Just like, the only way you could have faked that is if you were a celestial dragon. And Doflamingo grins at him.
Like, big time.
And then we see Violet was a traitor to Sanji. She was just setting him up to die. She's a member. She's a Don Quixote family assassin, trouble member.
Oh, yeah, she's part of Trouble's army.
Yeah. And then her powers, the Glarger fruit, are OP because it basically makes it where she can read minds and like has X-ray vision and stuff. And she's scared of Sanji because he's just imagining her naked.
The whole time.
Yeah, like the whole time. And he's just like, I knew that you weren't lying because I will always believe a woman's tears. And that's why I said this new version of Sanji is called Super Simp Sanji.
Yep.
And then, like, you see Violet starts breaking down and actually crying. And then she uses, like, the bullshit power of her devil fruit to make whales out of tears. And uses it to beat everybody up. And then free Sanji. And it turns out that she was telling the truth when she said, there's a man I want you to kill. And then tells Sanji everything that's Doflamingo's planned. Like the reason CP0 is there is to tell the whole country that the newspaper is false. There'll be a new newspaper. And then Isho's there with Doflamingo and Law. And it's just like, wait, Doflamingo didn't actually step down? Shit. I gotta help him. Yep. And then I like how he's like, Isho's just like, so y'all are both warlords of the sea. So that means I can't take you in, but you're under investigation law. So if you tell me that Luffy is your underling, I can let you go. And Law's just like, he's not my underling. We're equals. And then Isho's just like, well, then I guess we gotta fight. And then he summons the meteor.
The big old freaking equalizer.
Yeah, he summons 3 meteors. And I love that they all have their own way to stop the meteor. And one of the soldiers is just like, why'd they do it at the last second? One of Isho's soldiers is just like, why'd they wait until the last second? And then, like, it just cracks me up. And then we get a little bit of a tussle. We learn some backstory from the Tin Soldier that all the niceties that are going on is fake. All the toy soldiers are actual people. It's just that when they get turned into toy soldiers, everyone who knew them forgets they knew them.
Bro, and that alone, bro, that's one of the most elaborate freaking powers that when you think about it, just up in like one, like how you get turned into a toy, and not only does your body and your look, all that go away, but your whole existence is no longer there. Like nobody even remembers that you were ever a thing, like at all. Nobody remembers anything that was tied to you. Like you could have made somebody rich, you could have changed somebody's whole life. They don't even know it no more. It's as
if you've never existed in the minds of everyone.
Like your own children saying they didn't have a father. They only was reproduced by their mother and believe that.
And then we get the Usopp talking to the Tontadas, and they're setting it up and they're preparing to attack Doflamingo today. and then Lucy's fight starts with Black Sea. He befriends the giant bull, and they start running around. And
That was crazy.
I'm gonna be real. There's a lot of time dedicated to Black Sea for it not to matter. Like a lot of the time dedicated to it, because like we get to see stuff for later. Like it's just set up for later, but the actual thing with Shin Xiao and Luffy is like the only thing that actually matters.
Yeah, their altercation.
Yeah, because Shin Xiao hates Luffy's grandfather because Garp destroyed his life. Because he had like a cone head and his Conqueror's Hockey. He used advanced armament hockey first. Yeah. But, and he's just like, I've cursed him for 3 generations. We see the jacket fruit is like one of, like the power of the jacket fruit. It's really weird.
Worst double fruit in the whole show.
But, awakened, it might be OP as shit. But, like, at base, it seems pretty shit. It seems like one of the top 5 worst ones to have. Like, the only one that seems worse is Egghead's Dr. Vegapunk fruit sucks. Unless you're Dr. Vegapunk.
Dr. Vegapunk's fruit's useful. Like,
no. If you're a genius. If you're a genius, it's useful. If you're stupid.
No, all it basically does is not you don't have to even be a genius. I would be like, even if you're like an average person, if you're an idiot, yeah, you can't really do much with it. But it basically makes it to where you just don't forget anything. Like everything you do.
But it also makes your brain grow.
Yeah, everything you put in it stores, but you don't forget anything. Like you literally don't forget a thing. Everything you know how to do it, you know how to do it to how you learned it down to a T, and it never diminishes, it never goes anywhere. Like, and Dr. Vegapunk being a genius, of course, he can understand and fathom different knowledges and stuff. So I don't think it changes your understanding at all.
Yeah, it doesn't change your understanding. It just makes it where you can't forget anything. Which, personally, like, I wouldn't want. But I can see some people wanting. But it's like, its downside outweighs its upside unless you're like Albert Einstein. Then it's 100% fucking worth it. But we get the fight in the ring. Shin Zhao and Luffy duke it out. Kinemon and Sanji meet back up. And there's, like, it's weird that there's a bunch of heavy Navy hitters around the Coliseum. Like, there's a Vice Admiral, Shark Slicer, Bastile's there. Like, and then there was Isho's there. Like, it's just interesting that there's a lot of heavy hitters there. Like, we know why it's there, but from a story's perspective, it's just like, that's weird. We learned that toys can't live with humans. And toys have to always go back to the toy house. It's to keep people from noticing that it's weird. And this is where we get you have your own free will. You can think and talk. Like it had to be a genius like Vegapunk to make y'all. And that's where it's just like, oh, we're actually humans and everyone forgot us. It's sad. And you're just like, fuck. And then the 10 soldiers just like, this kingdom is divided into the forgotten and the forgetters. And the forgetters think they're happy, but they're actually destroyed because they forgot about the people they care about the most. And you see like this place is actually secretly, like all the bright colors is to distract you from how dark it is.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like that's like the whole thing, like why it's to distract you from the darkness of Doflamingo. And then Usopp gets stuck leading the army of Tontatas.
Pretty much. Like, if you want to pretty much call it what it is, he got stuck doing that.
And then we learned a couple of interesting things. This is meeting the Tontatas is the first example that we've seen of bug zoan fruits. Because Cub has the rhinoceros beetle, and Beyond has the hornet bug, which is interesting.
That's
And
right.
then we
We
meet
really
the
don't see
it's
any
the first
bug-loving
time.
fruits
It's the
anymore.
first. It's the first. But it makes sense for the Tontatas to get them
Of course.
because they're bug sized. But the bug ones have the potential to be the most OP, just because like bugs are the most OP animals. The only reason they don't just win everything is because they're little. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
most
just look at
complex.
Spider-Man. Just like Spider-Man got some of the powers of the spiders, and now he's OP. And then we learn from the King of the Tontatas that the Don Quixote family did start the oppression of the Tontatas. But it wasn't a decade ago. It was 900 years ago. But the Don Quixote family is the one that started messing with the Tontatas. Which is important to bring up. Because, like, why does it matter that it was? Like, because he even says our problem with the Don Quixote family didn't start a decade ago. It started 900 years ago. And it's just like, wait a minute, what? And then it cuts to, we see the Tin Soldier and Frankie arrive at the headquarters, and Zoro ended up there with the fairy that he found earlier. And we learn the Tin Soldier is the leader of the Tontara army.
Of the
We see-
revolutionary.
Yeah.
Their resistance army, my bad.
Yep. And then we see some more with the artsy chick. More of that fight. Law finally gets a hold of Nami and them, and it's just like, we can't help you. Sorry. And then we see some more of Doflamingo's mastermind. He's like, Straw Hat, he already fell for the bait I set. He's one of my fighters in the Coliseum. Just give up, Law. And then we get the actual fight with Xin Zhao. And we get one of what's going to become a new, like, I've heard like different things about it being a meme in the community. That the big fights are gonna end with the punch from the sky. Like, I think this is like the big one that like starts the crazy ass punch from the sky meme, because he hits him with a Gum Gum Thor elephant gun. And I'm gonna be real, the Thor elephant gun is cool because the lightning that comes from it is just because of how fast he throws the fucking punch.
Pretty much.
It's like the static electricity from the friction of him throwing the punch. And he one-shots Xin Zhao and fixes Jun Zhao's head.
Hey, that's still funny to this day.
Yeah, it cracks me up too. And then after that, we see the current people moved on are Jesus, Bartolomeo, and Lucy. Cavendish attacks Luffy. We have a really cool moment with Bartholomew. We learn like the reason that he's doing stuff is because he's the biggest Luffy fan in the world.
Literally.
Like, he was the leader of a gang, a very violent gang, but he like Luffy so much, like Luffy's story so much, that he gave up being a gang member and set out to sea because he wants to help Luffy become king of the pirates. And like the whole, you know how he grabs the dude's tongue and everything?
Yeah.
So in the anime, he just throws him away into the wall. In the manga, he actually cuts the guy's tongue off. Like, it's like a really good moment. Like, you see, like, Bartholomew's fucking crazy.
This
But
shit.
like, yeah, like, here I can show you the. It doesn't show exactly him cutting it off, but he's like, I'm gonna cut it off, and then you just see, what are we gonna do with you, you miserable maggot? And that's like, instead of him beating the shit out of him, he just cuts his tongue off. And then Shi Xiao shows up, stops Cavendish and Luffy's fight. He's just like, I owe you an eternal debt. Thank you for fixing my head. And then
Nah,
I
he's
love
a friend.
Yeah, and I love how Bartholomew's just like, oh my god, Luffy's so cool. How do I introduce myself?
Yeah, he literally like fangirled over him before he even said
Yeah.
2 words to him.
And then Rebecca pulls Luffy away. Blackbeard talks shit, just like, since I couldn't have your brother before, I'm gonna take his devil fruit. And Luffy's just like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of Jesus. On Jesus. And then Rebecca makes a friend for life with Luffy because she does the one thing that will make Luffy your friend forever. She buys
Gives him
him lunch.
food.
Yeah, she just buys him lunch. And we see the other members in the cell that are forced to be gladiators, that are the members of or people that are arrested by the Doflamingo family. Like, just like, kill him, girl, kill him. And Luffy escapes and just like, I can't hit you because you bought me food. Thank you for the food. The Coliseum food is delicious.
At least they make sure that they eat well.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm not gonna hurt you because you bought me food. And we learn like how dark the arena has become. And Rebecca's goal is to win the fire fruit, the flame fruit, so that she has the power to overthrow Doflamingo. And her entire goal is she wants to live in the same house as the Tin Soldier. And then she says a really hard line of, I'm tired of being the one getting helped. This time I want to protect him. And then that's where it ends. That's where this set of episodes ends.
Yep.
And it's a great start to it's the best start to an arc any of the arcs have had, in my opinion, because it just hits the ground rolling and keeps going and it's just gonna keep going.
I've actually been more in love with how we've ended, more so how they start, like, because like they've been ending on some very great points, because like it's like I say, this was pretty much the intro that Oda does so great. Like, he just has things go on that it might, because like you can feel like the ball's rolling with the fights going on, but we really ain't got in there yet. And like literally the whole intro got out, the stages is set, everything's in place, and it's like literally next week it's like, I think, pops off, like everything comes out popping off, like bam, boom, bam. Matter of fact, the next episode, we get right into Rebecca and Toy Soldier, but the final battle in Block D, the one where that's right before, I think, because Sabo comes next week too, doesn't it? Or is that the week after?
I think he does. I think we do.
Yeah.
I think it's either
It's next week for sure.
Yeah, I think it's like the second to last episode is the one where
it's what is it? I just seen it. It's the man who will inherit Ace's will. What is his name?
I thought it was like 73 or 74.
No, I think it's like 60 something.
Oh, it's earlier than I thought. But yeah, that's pretty much
63.
it for
63.
But that's what I'm looking for. I know next week we're gonna have so much to talk about, just because like the Sabo part changes everything in the show. Like,
Yep.
Like,
really, it really does. It really does. But we'll get there. We'll definitely. But next week's gonna be epic. Hope to see y'all there.
Next week's where everything gets crazy. But that's pretty much it for this week.
Yeah. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, man. Let us know, man. Y'all see anything that we ain't seeing in Dressrosa we need to talk about? We got any concerns, anything like that? Let us know. We trying to keep it going, keep the conversation up.
Yeah. Yeah, just looking forward to next week. We get to re-meet my favorite character in One Piece, so I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward. I'm ready to analyze that meeting a little bit more, see where some more stuff out of it. 'Cause I've been seeing a lot of foreshadowing that was there that, of course you wouldn't know unless you saw it. But Jesus, it's just so much.
yeah, there's just like I said, Dressrosa feels like the most important arc. Like, especially like when you add, it's where we learn about the red poneglyphs and everything. So it's just
Like we have to throw like us. This is probably one of the more story intensive arcs. It's like what Fishman Islands tried to be. This one upped it in story wise for me, just Sabo's return alone does it, you know. But we'll get there.
yeah. But that's this for that's that's it for this week, guys. Appreciate everyone that stopped by. We appreciate y'all. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. And this is Corrupted.
And it's the dragon.
Signing off. Everybody have a good rest